Welcome to the MindGrow Radio Storyteller Series. I am your host, Stephanie Kathan, and in this episode and in the weeks to come, we're going to be taking a deep dive into some candid conversations about the power of positive thought. Today, I'm joined by Dana Casley, a 51-year-old mother, grandmother, cannabis chef, and creator of Happy Panda Edibles. Welcome, Dana. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Stephanie.
Dana, we had the opportunity to talk recently, and you shared with me how shifting your mindset and changing your perspective has had a great impact on your life and literally changed things for you. And by harnessing the power of positive thought, you were able to kind of turn things around. And as someone who has witnessed your transformation, I must say that in my life, you are a definite inspiration. So thank you for shining the light. And I really want to appreciate you for coming forward to share your stories today. I just want to look back even just a few years ago. Your life didn't always look the way it does today. What did your life feel like then compared to now?
It felt very stuck in place, not moving forward, and sad, really. Sort of depressing and mundane and monotonous. And I wasn't happy at all. I wasn't really finding any happiness in my life, just plodding along, And so I decided to make some changes, and my life looks entirely different now.
So compared to now, what are the feelings that you're feeling on a regular basis now?
Today I wake up with joy because I feel like I'm finally in control of where my life is going. I feel like I can have an impact on my own life and other people's lives. And I don't feel stuck at all or depressed anymore. Creating my own reality.
That's such a powerful statement that you just made, because in our conversation, you had talked about years ago you realized you were complaining a lot, and that was creating things for you, and now you're creating in a different way. So
you can create your own misery if you want to. Stay in. If you dwell in the past, you'll stay there. So you have to create a different reality. I can sit here and say, "Oh, my life is so hard," and "Oh, this is awful," and that's what I'm attracting to myself is depression, awfulness, stagnance. But now I'm attracting abundance, and I'm attracting joy, and I'm attracting like-minded people into my life also. And the people that you have in your life really do make a huge impact, because if you have people that drain your energy and wallow in that with you, nothing will ever change. But I started to surround myself with positive people with more positive energy and wanting to grow forward, and things just started to blossom for me.
So what do you think brought about that change? Like, did something happen? Did you just make a decision one day? Was it leading up to that? Like, what made you decide to make a shift?
I think I have to owe a lot of that to the people that I was surrounding myself with, because it was like a light switch, but it going off for me. But it was after I'd seen what other people were able to bring into their own lives, because I guess I didn't really believe that any of this was possible in my own heart, my own head, until I actually saw proof that this is what I can do, and I can be creative, and I can move forward, and I can attract what I want in my life. And it was like a light switch. Like, I really can do this. I really can. I didn't think it was possible at all.
So what are some of the things that you see that you're bringing in now, other than just positive people? You weren't always a business owner. You were a stay-at-home mom. You raised your kids. And now you are doing so many things in the entrepreneur world. And to be honest, you're like growing my mind every day as I witness what you're doing and the things that you're creating. So would you say that confidence was one of the things that you were able to attract when you decided to make this shift?
I think that's one of the biggest things I was able to attract was confidence, because I didn't have any before. But somehow I'm able to just with thinking positively and knowing what I want, and it just brings it to me. I'm not even sure how it works, just that I stopped being negative. I started being positive. I started looking at the positive. And I got confidence in myself that, hey, I can do all of this. I've spent 30 years raising children. That's a hard job. I think at this point I could do just about anything.
And one of the things that you had to do was you had to let some things go, and you had to release some energetic heaviness that you were carrying around. Do you mind talking about that just a little?
Not at all. I was in a very negative relationship, and I feel that held me down more than most things, I think. It wasn't always bad, but I didn't have support. I wasn't able to even come up with any confidence. I was just working to serve others in my life, serve my husband, serve my children, pay the bills, and I wasn't doing anything at all for myself. And I think releasing all of that and deciding for myself what I want for myself has made a million changes in my life.
Yes, and I can tell you're lighter. Like, just conversations with you are lighter. Your attitude is different. Your creativity just like took off. You started a great business. You delved into learning. Do you feel like spending that time and focus on you helped create, because like you weren't always a business owner. You decided one day that you wanted this for yourself. And
yes,
as a witness to you, what I saw was like you made the decision, and then things just started falling together for you. And then then Happy Panda was born.
Happy Panda was born, and it's become my baby, and it's become, I'm so dedicated to it at this point. I just want to build my own life now, and I want to build happiness and abundance for everyone if I can. And if you spread that positive energy, it really will spread. Just like if you spread negative energy, it'll continue to spread. It's what I was doing before. Thinking about the negative and staying there.
That leads into my next question, which what role did the power of positive thought play in the creating of this life that you're living right now?
It played a very large role. I wouldn't be here doing the things that I'm doing and creating the things I'm creating if I was still in that mindset. The more positive I think and the more positive I feel, the more positive things are drawn to me. And in ways that I did not expect, whether it be financial. I mean, because you can create financial abundance if you want to draw that in, but it's also a feeling of accomplishment, and which gives you confidence. And you can stay on that. You can stay on that train as long as you want to ride it, as long as you continue to think in the positive.
So, what is a tip that you could give, like for somebody who might think, wow, this stuff is really woo-woo. I don't know if this is true. Kind of where you were at one point, where you didn't really have the belief system in the power of positive thought.
I did not have that belief system at all, and it did sound like a whole lot of mumbo-jumbo until I started to really dig deep and take it serious and start using that positive energy in my own life. And I it's like I came through this blockade and things just opened up for me. Opportunities, work opportunities, meeting like-minded people, to network with. I didn't have any of those people really in my life before. I didn't have any sort of abundance, really. It was so stagnated. And now that I got through that blockade, it feels like the entire world has opened up to me. And it has, really. From where I was to where I am today is night and day difference. And I do owe it to learning, the positive and letting go of the negative.
Was there is there a process that you use, or do you have some tips for somebody who might be starting out in this and go, where do I even begin? Like, how do I do this?
I think I started off with a little bit of self-talk, because you can get in your own head and say negative things to yourself. Like, oh, you're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to accomplish this. This is going to go wrong. That's going to go wrong. You're not going to be any good at this. And I realized I was talking to myself terribly. So I decided to start becoming my own best friend. I would never speak to a friend that way, the way I was speaking to myself. And I was crushing my own energy with my own self. So now I am my own best friend. And I do tell myself, you're rocking this. You can do this. You have all this confidence. You have all of this abundance. And the more you feel it and the more you say it to yourself, the more it takes hold. Because if you constantly put yourself down in your own mind, you just can't move forward. And I think that's how that blockade kind of got lifted in my life, was when I decided self-care and self-talk was so, so, so important. I was talking myself out of all of the things that I wanted. So I started talking myself into it, and it worked.
That is so awesome, and I think it's a really powerful nugget that you shared right there, because a lot of times we don't realize how we are even talking to ourselves. Like, we are talking shit to ourselves.
And it's subconscious. It's not even sometimes words. It's just that feeling inside of you, like, I just can't, or it won't work. You just have that self-doubt that just creeps in. But you have to learn to bypass that, and you've got to talk to yourself better and treat yourself better if you want to feel better.
Oh, that is so good. And clearly it created some sort of shift in you. And it's funny, isn't it? Because, like, once we create that first shift, then another one comes and another one comes, and we just begin vibrating higher, and the stuff that was holding us down and blocking us kind of just falls away. It's truly amazing. It's really amazing, the power that positive thought has. So do you meditate? Like, I know a lot of people meditate. I meditate, but for a long time I was always worried that I was doing it wrong. I was, like, very self-conscious about it, thinking, oh my God, I can't quiet my mind enough to do this. But
I do meditate.
Helped. You do meditate?
I do. It's a very self-centering process for me, where I can just shut out everything else and just concentrate, on my own self and in my own space. And it doesn't always mean for me laying down in a quiet place. Sometimes it's taking a hike in the woods, my headphones on. And that's like some form of meditation for me, where I can just quiet down and focus, and it's so relaxing and freeing to be able to do that when I've always had so many other people to worry about and not myself.
Oh, that is so good. So, listeners, if you've been worried about maybe you're meditating wrong or not doing it right, or don't think you can, what I'm hearing from Dana is that you just need to be present in a place that is bringing you joy. And it doesn't need to be, you don't need to be laying down. You don't need to be doing the Om. You don't need to be, you don't need to follow a script to get centered and connect to who you really are. This is such a good conversation. I'm loving this. So do you have any other tips that you want to share with the listeners who maybe could use a little support in how to get going in changing their conversations with themselves?
It's really, I think, hard to get started with that because maybe I felt a little silly at first. But then I started to feel a lot better, patting myself on the back, giving myself the confidence that I needed. And maybe just having somebody talk kindly to me all the time, even if it was me. I mean, everybody needs that, to feel that kind of a kindness. And you can give that to yourself and boost your own confidence. And even if it feels silly, just try it.
That is the best advice, because kindness is something that we can all control. We can decide to be kind, whether the world is being kind or not, whether people out in the world are being kind. It doesn't matter, because it only matters what we are deciding to do in a moment. And being kind to yourself is so extremely powerful.
It's, I think, one of the most powerful. If you believe in yourself, you don't have to wait around for other people to believe in you. I believe in myself. I got this myself. I can do this. I can grow this business. I can change my life and find happiness. I can do anything that I set my mind to. And everybody needs, how do you say it, like backup. Everybody needs a little backbone. Everybody needs some support. You can give that to yourself and take control of it yourself and not wait around for someone else to say, good job, Dana. You know, I can say, good job, Dana, and I can be proud of myself for all the moves I'm making. It can come from within. It really can.
So I just want to wrap up. We're going to be wrapping up in a few minutes, but I want to talk about creativity for a minute. So when you started harnessing this power of positive thought, did you find that your creativity seemed to get ignited?
So much. I started coming up with so many new ideas and so many ways to move forward with what I want to do with my business. You know, starting with helping people, which is really my main goal in my business. But the creativity started to flow, and I've got more ideas now than I definitely had in the beginning. And the more things seem to work out, you know, the more things are working out for me, the more positivity comes in, the more confidence comes in, the more the creativity keeps flowing. And
you started with just an idea. That's
really
the crazy thing. Like, it was just an idea. And now you have a business. You've created a full menu. You offer personal chef services. You have just blossomed with this power. And I'm so happy to share your story with the listeners, because I think that it all begins with the decision and changing the conversation that we have with ourselves. That's like the
conversation. The conversation you have with yourself is the most important conversation you're going to have, because you have to have your own back first, and you have to love yourself enough and to believe in yourself enough to be this free. Really do.
And I know a lot of people, like in the coaching world, when people think, yes, I would like to change things, but I'm not going to go enroll in a $2,000 program or hire a coach for this. And although I do encourage that when you're ready for people, it doesn't take $1 million to get started. It doesn't take anything except a decision, right?
The decision and the desire, absolutely.
And with that, everything else falls into place. And that has been one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in my own life, and seeing the changes that you've experienced with just an idea.
With just an
like
idea.
Anybody who's thinking, I can't possibly own a business. I want to, but I don't even know where to start. And it all starts with just an idea. You didn't always have a menu. You didn't always do services, but you learned and you educated yourself through a decision and the conversation that you were having. It's like that's all. It doesn't cost anything to do that. It's only what we have within ourselves. Oh, so mind-growing.
Mm-hmm. It is. And it's amazing when you finally see it coming to fruition. When you believe in yourself enough and you actually start to see it happen, it's so freeing. I feel very free in my life instead of stuck. I feel like I have just freed myself. And
isn't that what we're like all seeking, right? Is that freedom to express however we want.
Mm-hmm.
This has been so good. So do you have any last words for the listeners? Our time is just about up. Time always goes really fast when I'm talking with you, so
it does.
I'm not surprised that time has flown by. But do you have any parting words for our listeners today?
I think I would say just to believe in yourself. It starts within. It's not going to come from some other external source. It has to come from inside of you and what you believe and the power that you give yourself, and then you can do anything.
Great advice. Great advice. Oh, thank you, Dana, for sharing your story with us. Thank you to the listeners for spending this time with us. And thank you. Tune in for more mind-growing conversations on the next episode of the MindGrow Radio podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Kathan. We've been joined by Dana Casley. And until we meet again, keep shining in your brilliance, everybody. See you on the other side.